Hi guys, welcome back. Happy Friday. So Terrence Howard just made a pretty wild claim in a new interview. He said Diddy tried to come on to him. He was on a PBD podcast and said Diddy was supposedly trying to get him to be his acting coach, but it was all just a front. Now, according to Terrence, Diddy kept inviting him over for weeks, saying he wanted help with acting. But every time Terrence went to his place, Diddy would just sit there and stare at Terrence. No scripts, no scenes, nothing to work on. Then Diddy asked him to listen to some music, but even then, he didn't really play anything, just more staring. Terrence said it felt like nothing was actually getting done. Eventually, Diddy invited him back again. And that's when Terrence said he finally realized Diddy didn't want coaching. He just wanted to sleep with him. Terrence was so thrown off by the whole situation, he ended up asking his assistant what was really going on. Terrence's assistant responded, "I think he's trying to F you," which prompted Terrence to cut off all communication with Diddy moving forward. Terrence said a lot of people give up their men card to make it in Hollywood and become successful, but he refused to do so at any point. Terrence explained before noting he had similar experiences with a number of producers whom he had to threaten to punch or knock their head off. He says, when you approach a real man about his masculinity, you are going to get a real reaction back. I've lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that ish because the man card means everything. Now, before I play the clip, Terrence says he's working on a new podcast and he's not holding back at all. He plans to go after some of the biggest media companies in Hollywood. He called it a studio's nightmare and every actor's dream. He said the podcast is all about exposing how the entertainment industry really works. He's going to talk about the powerful people behind the scenes and call out some major names like Disney, Fox, and especially CAA, the talent agency he's in a legal battle with. He claims they pressured him to take a lower paycheck when he was doing Empire. He's also planning to share stories from his time on Empire and spill on shady deals and business betrayals he has experienced during his career. According to Terrence, most people in Hollywood are scared of the big studio execs and agents, but Terrence says he is not. Because he's got nothing to lose now, okay? Terrence hopes to show his listeners how the industry really operates. Check out the video.
Buffy invited me for weeks asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers coming to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you like, or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back.
Why do you think that is? What the creative side is?
Well, because losing out money, you got to take drugs. You're going through so much to try and deal with life. You are literally, it's an unhealthy space. And so eventually you're going to go too far. There's a lot of things that people do that end up sitting and they can't get over it. And they got to keep getting high, hoping to get it out of their head. Well, when you lose your man card.
What is that? What do you mean by that?
You give up your ability, your right to being a man. A man don't take it, a man gives it. So when you give up that man card, you don't get that back.
Are you saying what I think you're saying?
Now, I'm saying what I'm saying. You give up that right for anything, for fear of being hurt, fear of somebody doing something, for wanting to gain something. When you give up that man card right, you lose some spiritual energy that has always been pushing through. Like if a woman gives up her womanly right of being a mother and taking care of her family and do all those things, when you give up those things, but when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Got punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone.
So you see some guys struggling with that. You see Bieber struggling with that. You see some of these guys struggling with that.
They can't get it out of their head. They can't get it out of their head. The things that they did, no matter how they did it, whether they were drunk or high or whatever, you gave up your man card. They end up on drugs, end up every way to try and get rid of any principles there are. And that's what the business does. And the women that trade their bodies to go and get the role, they get to the point where they have their Oscar, they have their money, but they don't have their dream. They don't have the soul that they started with. So it's like achieving don't mean anything. If I get all the Nobel Prizes from doing all of this, but in the process I have to trade out all of my integrity to do it so that they can stay in place, what benefit is that if I lose my integrity?
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to f*** you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay, now I get it. So now no more communication. I've lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that.